friends, today we're going to learn about one of my favorite artists, Yayoi Kusama. From Here to Infinity is the book. She is an awesome Japanese artist. Yayoi Kusama was born in the country Japan on the island of Honshu in the town called Matsumoto City. An old palace made of wood and stone overlooked the moat where swans swam. The streets were lined with little shops, and snow-capped mountains rose in the distance, swallowing up the sun as it went down for the evening. And stick around, this is a little bit of a longer book, okay, friends? Yayoi's family owned nurseries where all kinds of flowers and vegetables grow, and workers tended to the plants as they matured from seed to sprouts to stalks. But Yayoi yearned for a different life, far from this countryside. She dreamed about what lay beyond the mountains in palaces far from Matsumoto City. She longed to leave home and see the world. Yayoi's mother wanted her to stay home and learn old-fashioned manners, how to dress elegantly, walk demurely, eat politely, and find a proper husband. But Yayoi wanted to be an artist. Every day she went outside with ink and brushes and paper. She drew things she saw and things she imagined. She looked closely at pebbles that lined the riverbed and at the leaves and stalks of the plants, and she drew them as chains of a tiny cell that looked like dots. When she was older and studying in art school, her teachers disapproved of her work, and they demanded that Yayoi paint the more traditional, precise Japanese style. She wanted to go where she could live without rules. My pages are all stuck together, friends. When she was 28 years old, she pocketed up her silk kimonos and thousands of drawings and stuffed dollar bills into toes of her shoes. It was her first airplane trip. There was only 4 other passengers, and the weather was stormy and rainy and with rain and lightning. The airplane wobbled and dipped as it flew to America. Sorry if you hear any noise, by the way. That's my dog. She's playing right now. In New York, Yayoi went to the top of the Empire State Building, the tallest building in the city, full of tall buildings. When she looked down, she saw buses and cars and yellow taxis zooming up and down the avenues, and bankers and teachers and artists rushing to work. From up on the 86th floor, they looked like dots. She felt very far from a quiet Matsumoto City and her mother's rules. Here, it seemed like anything was possible. Yayoi set about turning her drawings of dots into paintings. The dollar bills she had brought to America quickly ran out, and she spent what little money she had left on paints and canvases. She worked day and night. She painted what she could. When she was cold, she painted when she was hungry. She painted when she was lonely. And she turned her dots into sculptures, too. Then into soft, stuffed tubes that covered sofas and chairs and boats. She was devoted to her dots. For her, they were a way of thinking about the world among the stars. As one dot among billions of others, they are a way of thinking about affinity. Sometimes when she grew frustrated, she visited the Museum of Modern Art that's in New York City. She gazed at pictures of other artists, and she thought about why and how they were made. She looked at pictures of dancing girls and swirling stars, trying to solve them as if they were puzzles. So this one, we got Vincent van Gogh. This one, we have, I just had it on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. But this one, we have Matisse. I believe in the background, having a hard time placing all of my artist into my name. I can't remember right now, but I'll see if I can remember them later. But they're all artists that we study in our awesome class. Her painting seemed so different that those she had seen at MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art. When she at last was ready to show her work in public, she invited all of her friends she had made in New York. When she arrived at the gallery, a crowd was spilling out onto the street. Her friends lifted her in the air, shouting, "Yayoi, you've finally done it!" Word about her artwork spread quickly. Her friends told their friends. Newspapers wrote about her work, and reporters clamored to interview her about her dots. Now she began to show them in other cities all over the United States and Europe. That's super cool. Her dots were covering the world. They appeared in Venice, which is in Italy, and thousands of dot-shaped mirrors scattered over a big green lawn, over a pumpkin on a pier. That's one of my favorite arts she makes. On dresses and t-shirts, on people walking down streets, and in mirrored rooms where glowing dots were reflected and reflected again. An affinity of dots. Kind of sounds like Buzz Lightyear, to infinity and beyond. Now, she made this awesome room that looks exactly like this. Oh, I would love to see that in person. Having visited so many countries all over the world, Yayoi returned to Japan. The country had changed since she had left, with many different artists challenging the old traditional style, as Yayoi had been doing all along. She still lives in Japan and continues to paint her dots every day. She's actually alive and she's living today, which is super cool. And here are some awesome artworks that she made. So we got this one right here. We got all these little dots here. This one, it kind of makes me think about the human body. This is kind of like a nebula, almost kind of sciencey. We got, this is a little faint, but you can kind of see it's kind of a little sculpted. But this is a chair that has like those dots poking out. Like, let's see if there's a little bit more. Oh, and this, remember that awesome one where it's just her in the picture that I told you I really wanted to see? This is what it looks like in real life. Isn't that amazing? Look at how many dots. It looks like a cityscape, but that's her art. How amazing is that? Oh, and this one is super cool. What she did is she had a room that was completely white, and she asked strangers, actually, to come in, take one single dot, and place it somewhere. So people were actually able to participate in this. Wouldn't that be so fun if we did that in our art room? Everybody gets one dot, and then they put it all over. Think about all of those dots. And that's her right there. Isn't she awesome? So that is our awesome book about Yayoi Kusama. She's one of my favorite artists, and I think that she really loves to look at how other artists work and to kind of challenge how people believe. So thank you guys for coming and reading today. I hope I get to see you soon, and I hope you're doing good.